We begin this chapter with our trio just arriving at Chargestone Cave, where they reunite with Sharon and Bianca, who are trying to work with their disobedient Carablast and Shelmet. The trio try to help them on with it, and with Silent giving an evaluation, but it doesn't work. Silent suggests to try to bond with them by exploring the cave together, and they all agree to give it a try. They all head inside and are pretty fascinated by how the cave is, especially Ash. Ash, while journeying, they surprisingly reunite with Professor Juniper and a man, who she reveals is her father, Cedric Juniper. But they're doing research together and ask the kids they'd like to help out, with them all agreeing. While they do research together, Bianca actually ends up bonding with the Junipers, revealing to them and her friends she's actually a great note taker and loves learning, impressing the professors who even just to help other trainers out there, making Bianca happy. However, her Sharon and Bianca continue to struggle with bonding with their bug types, and the little adventure unfortunately doesn't help. However, seeing them together like this, Ash is reminded of the incident back in Sinnoh with him on Apom and Weasel, so he suggests Sharon and Bianca on with the others' Pokemon. By seeing a new trainer could help them become nicer, Sharon and Bianca decide it couldn't hurt and give it a try. And surprisingly, it actually works. Or as it turns out, Elman and Carablast's personalities were the opposite of the trainers who caught them. So the trainers who had similar traits actually helped make them become nicer. After a while of bonding, the professor suggests they trade, and they even bring a trading machine. And the two, so hesitant at first, ultimately agree, returning Carablast and showing their Pokeballs and commencing the trade. Saying bye to them and welcoming their new members. First, Shelmet is now officially owned by Sharon, and Carablast is now Bianca's. However, after being traded, the two evolve. Elma is now a Selgor, and Carablast is now a Scavalier. After this, the two are excited and request a battle with Ash and Hill to show off their new strength with their new Pokemon. And while Hill is a bit reluctant at first, she agrees to some encouragement with Ash. The battles between the newly evolved bug types versus Archeops and Audino. But the battle is well on both sides, as both Sharon and Bianca work well with their new partners, while Ash and Hilda show Archeops' new strength and Hilda's battle improvement. Select this type advantage. I have advantage in things with Scavalier's steel typing. Ash and Hilda get the upper hand. And after a tough battle, I want some guidance from Ash. Him and Hilda come out as the victors. Afterwards, Sharon and Bianca decide to hang with the professors and train with their new partners, others, and wishes our trio well as they continue their way to Mistralton City. A little while later, our troop officially make it to the city after they're following a plane they saw in the air. And they immediately head to the gym. Before they can go inside, however, a kid shows up and tells Ash if he wants to have a gym, he's going to have to wait in the line, confusing him. And after talking to a man, he's given an appointment card, confusing him and his friends even more. Before he can ask any more questions, the plane they saw in the air land, and the crew meet the gym leader, Skyla. Isla, who, just like Cannon, does the whole air battle thing. Where trainers send our Pokemon, and she imagines the battle in her head. Being a gym leader and a guy who actually loves battles, respectively, Ash and Silent are infuriated to see this, and so they angrily confront Skyla about it, but she brushes them off and flies away. Later on, the group to meet her grandfather Miles, who explained that she started air battles due to her gym battle, giving her less time to pursue her love of flying. But Ash and Silent still don't like this, and Silent says to Ash challenge her, and so later when she returns, he introduces himself properly, with him and Ash apologizing for their earlier behavior. Afterwards, Silent challenges Skylar to a real gym, but she does an air battle instead and predicts she'll win. But Silent states that he wants a real balance. Skylar, while smug and reluctant, ultimately agrees. It's a 3-on-3, starting with Pansage versus Swoobat. And while Pansage does with a better fight than in Cannon, thanks to his new moveset, the outcome is unfortunately the same as just the same. Yeah, sorry. Silent's next Pokemon is Crustle, who, thanks to his rock typing, he manages to knock out Swoobat. Skyla's next Pokemon is Unpheasant. And this plays a similar to the canon as well, with Silent even giving his evaluation time. Another tough, another pretty chill battle, and Pheasant's knocked out. Swanna sends out her final Pokemon and her ace, Swanna, and this is definitely harder. Now, while Crustle didn't take a whole lot of damage, Swanna's water type moves give Crustle a hard time. He does manage to land a hard rock wrecker, but unfortunately, the damage release from Shell Smash unfortunately isn't enough, and he's knocked out. The Silent sends out his final Pokemon, Lilligant, who, despite the type advantage, has moves ahead of stat affecting moves, which uses Quiver Dance for its special attack, defense, and speed, and Sunsword to paralyze it, while also using Giga Drain to drain Swanna's energy. This weakens Swanna immensely, and Skyla begins to worry, but Swanna gives her a reassuring look, which makes Skyla smirk and use Aqua Ring, healing itself and curing the paralysis. Silent tries to get the upper hand again, but Swanna is ready, and after dodging a Leaf Storm, ends the battle with Brave Bird, making Skyla the winner even more than their air battles are better. Meanwhile, Silent is devastated, as not only did he lose, he failed to teach Skyla on left, with Ash and Skyla feeling sorry for him. Meanwhile, Skyla, however, feeling she's done enough, cancels the afternoon air battles and leaves. Ash, however, finally fed up with her attitude, confronts her himself. Clearing that he finds her battles to be boring, Everyone wishes to fight her in an official gym battle the same way Silent did. However, she refuses, only to be stopped by her grandfather, who sides with Ash, with the rest of the conversation happening as canon. In the end, Skyla agrees to battle Ash, but still confident she'll defeat him. Ash refuses, but she interrupts, saying the battle will take place tomorrow, and he agrees. Later at the Pokemon Center, Ash and Hilda comforts Island while his Pokemon are being healed. He thanks them and encourages Ash, showing full faithful wit, and Ash promises. With Hilda noticing his determined look, and Ash says he has to be more determined, as now he has to win this battle for Island himself and to prove Skyla wrong. The next day arrives and the gym battle begins, and like Silent's battle, it's a 3-on-3, starting off with Swoobat versus Oshawott. Sorry. While Oshawott does do pretty good, Swoobat's aerial event makes it hard for Oshawott to land a lot of attacks. He does land Aqua Tail on one of Swoobat's wing, which slows it down, but Swoobat manages to end the battle with Psyshock, giving Skyla the lead. But Ash is unfazed and sends out Archeops. And thanks to the damage win, Swoobat is taken down without much of a problem. Skyla then sends out her next Pokemon, an Unpheasant, and this is an aerial battle all the way. The battle continues with both duking out. Archeops even lands an Ancient Power, boosting all of his stats. But Skyla gets excited, admitting that was a lot of fun, as the two Archeops fly all over the place. But eventually, Archeops lands the final blow and knocks on a Pheasant. Skyla admits that while Ash is doing well, she's still confident she'll win, and sends out her final Pokemon, Swanna. And once again, it's an aerial showdown, but with Archeops drained from the last battle, but stronger and faster thanks to the boost from Ancient Power. Both Flash and their moves do pretty good damage to each other, but unfortunately, Archeops tries to go for Aerial Ace, but while it does hit, Swanna takes advantage, uses following it with Hurricane and then Brave Bird. Ash is shocked by the move combo, and Archeops, despite the boost, is seriously tired and tries to get up, but unfortunately, so one more Bubble Beam knocks him out. Ash is then down to his final Pokemon, Pikachu. Skyla figured actually if his ace for her last, and even comments on his Pokemon strength and the aerial battles with Archeops, but says that she will end this battle. Ash again refuses, going for Electro Ball, but Skyla has Swanna use Aqua to protect itself and heal. Ash is shocked, and she explains that most bring electric types in the gym pre and post was her becoming the gym leader, so she trains Swanna to use Aqua to get around that. But Ash and Pikachu try to get around and look for an open spot, but it's hard. Meanwhile, Swanna launches attacks, lands Bubble Beam and Hurricaneing it, with Pikachu dodging the form and getting hit by the ladder. He stands strong, however, and Ash tries to think of a plan, but then notices something and he gets an idea. Skyla says to try and finish the combo with Brave Bird, but Ash's Pikachu's quick attack can jump across the rings and the and then backflip on Swanna. He then commands a Thunderbolt, which hits hard into being super close and unable to. Well, Pikachu continues to use Thunderbolt as Swanna tries to shake him off. I'll use Aqua Wing, but Ash eventually Pikachu is shaken off, and Aqua Wing is in the process of being used, but Ash wanted, and as Pikachu charged straight down at Swanna with a combination of Iron Tail and Electro Ball, cutting through the Aqua Ring and directly hitting Swanna, knocking it out and winning Ash the battle and the Jet Badge. Hilda and Silent congratulate Ash, and the boys exchange a nod. Outside the gym, Skylight tells the group that she'll no longer do air battles, realizing the efforts of both trainer and their Poke can bring unpredictable results, and apologizes to Ash, Silent, and her grandfather. But they're just happy she saw the error of her ways and excited for a fresh start. Alright, Skylight then tells the group that the closest gym from here is in Icera City. And with that, the group wish the two well and head out. Soon by they're leaving, the group, while taking a break, admire the route, while Ash likes to do some training with his newest member, Croc. The duo train hard and show their pretty cool bond. While during a break, Silent informs that there's another Battle Club tournament called the Club Explosion, which excites Ash and Croc. But Silent tells them the tournament, which will, while allowing any Pokemon, is well known for hand-to-hand combat, so fighting is tend to be used. Hearing this and knowing he has no fighting that's on hand, Ash considers Darmanitan, but Croc refuses this and wants to battle Lander, determined to prove his strength, thanks to all of his training pre and post joining Ash. Seeing the fire in his eyes, Ash agrees, and Hilda also signed to enter the tournament with Mienfoo and Tepig respectively. Sometime later, the group officially make it to the Club Explosion, and after registering, they reunite with Sharon, Iris, and Bianca, who admit they're also competing. After catching up, they head inside, where they meet this town's Don George, and after a speech, the tournament begins. Similar to the Battle Club, we see a montage of our main characters advancing to round 2, showing their respective growth and skills, with Ash and Krokorok, Sharon and Sonic, and Hilda and Mienfoo, who all being pretty good standouts. Eventually, though, we see the final match against a man named Montgomery, who was last year's winner with his throw, and a skilled Battle Club participant named Baru with his Conkeldurr. In the back, Adel is completely and utterly one-sided, as Montgomery dominated utterly, shocking everyone. He then gives Sharon and Sokka a look that says, "I'll defeat you," but the two look back under the term, and it can be the other way around. After a break, the quarterfinals are announced. Sharon versus Silent, Stacy versus Ash, Montgomery versus Iris, and Hilda versus Bianca. Sharon versus Silent is pretty good, as both show their skills across their respective journeys. And Tepig does do pretty well despite being a pre-evolve against a strong Pokemon like Sock. Eventually, though, Sock gets the upper hand and knocks out Tepig, advancing Sharon to the top 4. Ash versus Stacy is next, and Crocoy does do a lot better thanks to his type advantage against Bisharp, but eventually knocking it out and advancing Ash to the next round. Montgomery versus Iris is next, and while Iris does use her new Evolve Fracture this time, the outcome is unfortunately the same as canon. And Montgomery goes on to the quarterfinals, and the final battle is an important one: Hilda versus Bianca. Both of them are motivated since they're hanging out with Elisa and are back in Nimbasa, but both determined to prove themselves. Mienfoo's smaller size, and the battle is pretty actually nice. Both as Mienfoo's smaller size and athletic make it a good opponent, but Em was definitely putting up a tough fight. Eventually, though, he starts to get the upper hand, but Hilda refuses to give up, wanting to prove everything she's learned about thanks to her journey with Ash and Silent. Moved by her resolve, but Mienfoo evolves into Mean Shao, exciting him, Hilda, making her extremely happy. And with its newfound strength, it manages to knock out Emboar, winning Hilda the battle and advancing her into the top 4. For Ash and Silent are really proud of her. With Bianca accepting her defeat, but congratulating Hilda, with her thanking Bianca in return, and the two shake hands. And with that, the semifinals are next: Montgomery versus Hilda, and Sharon versus Ash. Montgomery versus Hilda is, well, like Montgomery's other battles, completely one-sided. Hilda tries her best and even tries some of Ash's battle strategies, but it doesn't work, and Montgomery and Throw prevail again. He moves on to the finals. Next up is Sharon versus Ash. And the battle is even more intense, as both rivals are determined to do well. Well, despite the type advantage, Croc is holding his own against Sock. Sock is doing pretty well. Eventually, though, Ash calls for a Stone Edge, but Sock uses close combat to hit them back. Croc dodges with Dig and hits hard. After a tough battle, it comes down to Break versus Shadow Claw, and while it's even, Sock won Val Montgomery through overpowers Croc and wins the battle, winning Sharon in the battle and advancing him to the finals. And Sharon is happy as he's finally beaten his rival. And while Ash is bummed out about his loss, he's happy for his friend, thanking Croc and congratulating Sharon. And Sharon thanks him, and the two shake hands. And with that, it's now time for the finals. Montgomery versus Sharon. And it's Thoreau versus Sock. Look, the battle is honestly quite intense, as both are intensely strong fight types, and who honestly have pretty good karate skills. And neither are willing to back down, giving it their absolute all, reflecting in their trainers. And it's Brick versus Seismic Toss on which he breaks out with close combat. But on it, the moves are just intense and powerful all around. Eventually, though, both become worn down, and Montgomery tries to end the battle with Seismic Toss, and while Sock does manage to slip out, they both hit the ground hard. They do manage to get up, and Throw moves in to finish off Sock, but Sock respectively bows and walks away as Throw faints from exhaustion. Winning share in the battle and the club explosion tournament. Montgomery is shocked, but then regains his senses, respectfully shaking Sharon's hand and congratulating him on the win. And he thanks him, as the crowd and especially his friends cheer to celebrate Sharon's victory as he's handed the sign with a year's supply of vitamins. Outside, the others congratulate Sharon, and he thanks them, after which he urges Bianca all plan to hang out together to get to know each other better, but wish their friends the best as they leave. Before he tells Ash that he plans to see him and Iris at the Unova League, and the three rivals agree, after which Sharon, Bianca, and Iris head out, and Ash and Hill then silently continue their way to Iciris City. And that's where we'll end this part. Hope you all enjoyed. Tell me your thoughts in the comments, and see you next time. Later.